really happy that you made it to the Global Media Forum. Dr. Hamzah Almustafa, Minister of Information in Syria, welcome to the Global Media Forum. We're happy to have you here with us. Before being appointed as a minister end of March 2025, you were the General Director of Syria TV, TV owned and operated by the Qatari Fada'at Media Network. And you also hold a PhD from the University of Exeter in the United Kingdom. And now comes an interesting part that I found interesting. You had a thesis, your PhD thesis was about from arm to negotiations, transformations within the Syrian armed Islamists, and your study examines the process of collective transformations from radicalization to de-radicalization and moderation within local armed Islamists movement in Syria. So this was the theoretical part of your thesis. And I was questioning myself, like, now, actually, it's the perfect time to apply the thesis in reality. How is it going? Did you already start?
Not always. First of all, thank you so much, Jaafar. It's a great honor to be here in this prestigious event, presenting my country maybe for the first time, and answering some questions that might concern many. Regarding to my thesis, my first book, when I was a researcher in the Arab Center for Research and Policy Study, was on media. Then, since 2013, I decided to change my major. I began to study the armed Islamist movement. I published my first paper on Al-Nusra Front. By the way, yesterday the United States removed Al-Nusra Front and HTS from the list of terrorist organizations. So, as you know, Jaafar, that's starting from 2013. So it was a significant shift in the scenes of the Syrian conflict. Islamists became center. So I expected at that time that the armed Islamist movement will play a crucial role in the future Syria. So that's why I decided to start their transformation. But when I came to the transformation itself and the transformation process, I found that we usually study the transformation of armed Islamist movement within three Western concepts: radicalization, de-radicalization, and moderation. And how can we define radicalization, and according to what? So what I try to do, after providing a critical view of the Western approach regarding how to study armed Islamist movement, because they usually focus on their ideology rather than their behavior and organization. So I decided to study the armed Islamist movement, including jihadists, as a social movement. Social movement that interact with the external political environment, try to mobilize resource and structure, and they don't have ideology. They have ideology frame, and they are doing framing all the time. And in that case, just I want to study the armed Islamist movement as a rational actor rather than ideologue. So,
and how is all this, what you studied, helping you now? Because you're part of a government that have ex-jihadists, ex-Islamists.
Yes.
Is that helping you in the interaction with the others? Is that helping you to understand, to move forward? Because you want to move forward.
Yeah, it's helped me to understand the dynamics and the mechanism of Syria conflict itself. And I expected that Al-Nusra Front transformed to Fath Sham Front. After that, they transformed to a different model. It's called Hayat Tahrir Sham, HTS. So more pragmatic. They did a huge transformation on behavioral and organizational level. That's helped me.
But nevertheless, they were, they were listed as terrorists. They did different things that they did, and now it's a new start. So if we want to talk about what happened, there's a lot of questions, but the difference what's happening now is the Syrian government said, we will be starting new. Nevertheless, there are still challenges in everyday's life that you have and in your work that you have, and which is you've been responsible for the media system.
Yes.
And you're working on a transitional phase.
Yes.
Because after the media being under the Assad regime, which was a lot of oppression and no freedom of speech, and it was a propaganda state-owned TV, now you want to move on. What is your plan or your vision and timeline for this transitional phase?
That's a very good question for us, because in Syria we are in a new phase, in a new era. So after the collapse of Assad regime and after decades of state-run media, Syria is now presented with a unique historical opportunity to initiate a profound shift in its media landscape. Despite Jaafar's several challenges inherited from the fallen regime and the current situation, Jaafar, the media institution that now exists in Syria are marked by a significant lack of professionalism and editorial independence. Furthermore, populist discourse, misinformation, and disinformation have become widespread to manipulate public opinion rather than to promote the foundational value of dialogue, pluralism, and accountability.
So this is the status quo. So what is your plan?
Our first mission in the new government to build a national environment media based on inclusivity, professional standard, and the re-establishment of public audience. To doing so, we have adopted a comprehensive vision. First of all, to restructuring the public media based on professional standards. The second issue, to adopt, we started writing a code of ethics that include a consultation with the local journalists, civil society actor, and union to prevent the exploitation of media as a tool for polarization.
So I heard inclusivity, I heard the code of ethics that you are working on right now. If we stay by the code of ethics, how will you ensure that the new code of ethics protects press freedom and is not a control of press freedom?
So that, first of all, by the way that we will produce this kind of code of ethics, it will not be top-down. It will be bottom-up approach. So we started negotiation, dialogue with the local journalists. Some of them, they are here in this hall, just to determine what the principle, what the determine that can help us or to encourage the freedom of expression. Look, Jaafar, so after 14 years of revolution and armed conflict in Syria, so the Syrian people has a lot of expectation regarding to the freedom of speech, regarding to the freedom of expression.
Yeah.
So, of course, and the new government, the transitional government, is interested into managing the expectation. But regarding to the freedom of expression, so we are trying our best as much as we can to meet the expectation of people. So this is our capital, Jaafar.
So if I say at the code of ethics, you say you wanna create a code of ethics, so it's different people are participating, journalists. Is the diaspora journalists also involved? The NGOs, who are the ones involved? And is it possibility that at the end you would do a referendum to see if that's exactly what these people who created it want? So it's not a top-down approach, because creating is one thing and the result is another thing. Are there certain plans for that?
No. This process will, most of the Syrian actors inside and outside Syria will participate in this, in writing this code of ethics. We have in our program, for example, we have a 12 workshop, 10 inside Syria and 2 outside Syria, just to gather the Syrian journalists, especially talented journalists in the West, and to come and participate in the Code of Ethics. Jaafar, we believe that the new Syria need for the public media. However, it will not be alone or dominant. Over the past months, we have paved the way for the private and independent media actor to be a powerful and active actor in the media landscape through regulation.
I can
and
imagine
also
that.
we invited the foreign media agency to come and to invest in Syria.
Yeah, but I would differentiate with the foreign agencies coming in and the local and the Code of Ethics. So just to understand and to be very concrete, because then we know what is your plan and to understand your perspective better. That's why I'm asking about it, because you said the Code of Ethics. If we look at Syria today, Syria has different minorities, different ethnicities, religion, different languages. Are they all involved in the Code of Ethics and creating the Code of Ethics? Because as a concrete example, if you talk today to Kurds, they have been for a long time in Syria. They weren't able to speak their language, being an active part, living their culture. So can we see also through the Code of Ethics a media presenter or a media program in a very concrete way presenting in Kurdish? Is that something you say, yeah, that's the inclusive that we want to have in Syria?
We had many. I will start it with the last question. So we had many media outlets, TVs and radios. They are producing now in Kurdish language in Syria, in the new Syria. Jaafar, in the regime, in the time of Assad regime, 400 media outlets were prohibited from operating in Syria. Now they are operating relatively free in Syria. So
Relatively?
Relatively.
What do we need to in order to be free?
Syria currently navigating a very critical transitional period, taking its initial step toward political reform. As you know, all of us, we are coming from journalistic background. We know that media freedom is evolving and a gradual process. So we will do in the Ministry of Information our best to provide a friendly, not hostile environment for all media outlets to come. That's why, Jaafar, our ministry has announced last week such an extraordinary project to build a media city and for media and production company to come and to invest with Syria with the initial cost. It's estimated about $1.5 billion with the leading company in Kuwait in order to make Syria, this is my dream. I have a dream. We have a dream to make Syria a regional hub for media industry in the Middle East. And my team and I working very hard to make this dream come true.
And you have this dream to have a media hub in Syria. And for this dream to come true, as a journalist, and you know that very good, you were head of TV, is the core of journalism is freedom of speech, is freedom of information. So how you want to guarantee that the Syrian, also the foreign, but the Syrian journalists are able to do their work freely and to be protected? I just want to tell you the background of my question, because I've been talking to some Syrian journalists. Some of them told me, and I trust what they say, is on the governmental level, you're trying your best. On the practical level, when they are on the ground, they have the challenge that there are some groups, communities, that are not allowing them to do their job freely. And when they ask for support, they are not getting it the way they should get it to be protected, which is a right to get information. And this is a very clear, concrete example how you want to protect these journalists, and some of them are sitting also here in this room. What do you tell them?
So, as you know, we are as I mentioned, we are in a transitional period. Of course, we are trying to facilitate the journalists, local journalists work as much as we can, providing all what they need to do their job. Of course, we have a lot of difficulties. As a government, we have difficulties.
Can you tell me some of these difficulties to understand you better?
So now, it's a new government, security, stability first. And we have some different problem haven't settled down until yet. So of course we are facing a lot of difficulties. As a Syrian journalist, when we were in the exile, we faced a lot. We suffered a lot from different difficulties, and we have the willingness and we have determination to continue and to adapt with all circumstances. Now, everything has changed. So in the new government, we are trying, it's a new era. We cannot leave. There is no future for Syria without private and independent journalism, without a right for all journalists, without a friendly environment that can help us. Jaafar, as a ministry and as a government, we demonstrated openness to engaging with political criticism. We showed openness, we demonstrated openness, willingness to learn from international experience, including training, peace-building journalism, and responsible journalism. Of course, the freedom of expression in Syria is still limited when compared to its consolidated democracy, like in the West. However, we have a decision and we have a will, and we will continue in our best. We think it's undeniably clear that the path forward remains challenging. But we believe that at the end of the day, we have no choice except maintaining and helping and encouraging the freedom of expression and responsible and professional journalistic work.
You mentioned the future. If we look today at Reporter Without Borders, they do a different index of ranking of freedom of speech. 2024, Syria was ranked place 179 among 180. Today, if we look at 2025, it's 177, so 2 places better. You said in the future, let's imagine in 5 years, where would you see Syria, on which ranking among 180?
So as you mentioned, Syria was in the lowest of the list.
It's still, yeah.
Now, you have to wait 1 year just to measure it. Of course, at the end of the day, we are professional journalists. We cannot judge directly.
Yeah, that's why it was 2024 and now 2025. In 5 years, where would you see that? I mean, as a minister, you have a vision, you're looking at something, and then you say, I would like it to be...
I would like to be in a position that after 5 years, that we will no need for Ministry of Information. This is my vision.
We're gonna have a reunion in 5 years at the Global Media Forum.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have a lot of questions, but I see also different questions, different questions from the audience, and that's why I would like to invite the audience to join us. And I will start with...
I am a Director of Syrian Female Journalist Network, so I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk to you. What concrete steps in the Ministry of Information taking to ensure the safety, equal opportunities, and freedom of expression for women journalists in Syria, given the challenges they face, such as harassment, censorship, and discrimination right now?
It's a good question because we have a general answer regarding that. We are, as I mentioned, that we are trying to facilitate all journalists' work. But regarding to the women's rights, it's an area need and must work more and more to empowering women, not only in journalistic work, but in different landscape, political media and everything. So we will do our best. We believe there's an equal right between all of Syrian citizens, regardless of their background. And we believe that women should and must play a crucial role in the future of Syria.
But there is steps or just belief?
No, it's not. It's the steps. We started to attract talented journalists all over the world and to come and to be in our team. We need their expertise, their knowledge to develop our work. Without their perspective, we cannot continue, we cannot go forward.
I would just add one to what she asked is, you said you believe in women's rights and women to be participative. If you look at the current government, you only have one woman in the government. When you say we, do you mean all the government or who is we? Because the reality is different than what you're saying. And just to understand, because you're in a phase of transitional phase, how you want to do it.
Yeah, Jaafar, the first lesson in journalism that you need to put everything in context. You take into consideration the context. So when we start talking about the transformation and about behavior transformation. Nobody expected that sometimes with the new government that it will be a woman. From personal perspective, it must be more and more. Mm-hmm. That's why we believe. Let's say the vast majority of Syrian people and the Syrian government believe that we should be empowering and the woman should be representative more in a good and proper way more than. And I said the woman rights is an area must and we should do and work hard to develop the representation of the woman in the cabinet, in the political process in Syria. I told you that's the road ahead, very challenging, different circumstances. But yes, we believe, the belief is very important in these days for change. Okay. This is willingness and determination.
Right. Yes, Rama?
My name is Drama Jarmakani. I'm Deutsche Welle journalist. The last few months had, Syria witnessed many incidents that came on a sectarian background. The media in Syria, especially after the formal launching of Al Ikhbariya, for example, which is the governmental channel, as I saw, they didn't play a very well part to help the peace building in Syria. And I'm quoting one of your presenters after the church explosion. He said, on air, the guest said, okay, I understand why that happened. And then the presenter said, okay, that's because of the Sunni injustice. And I don't know how you're going to work to make media help the peace building in Syria.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of challenges regarding to the formal media. We relaunched Al Akhbariya 2 months ago. Yeah, so after 5 months from the liberation. And of course, we have some weakness in editorial policy. But however, until now, we are trying to provide kind of professional media, countering misinformation and disinformation, and countering the hate speech. Of course, when you are talking about some presenter, usually he has a program, it's a combination between hard talk and talk show. You talk about Muaz, I think, yeah? But Muaz controversial in Syria, even before. This is the margin of freedom. Sometimes we do it in different way. So this is the margin of freedom, that's Muaz, and this program is dedicated to receive the opponent of the regime, to talk freely in everything. So of course.
Well, how do you differentiate between talking freely and hate speech and sectarianism?
Yeah. So
because this is the challenge you have in Syria. So
this is the message. I want to focus about the message and about the principles of the public media. Are you invested in the sectarian discourse, or we are countering? I think for the first time in Syria, we are countering sectarian discourse, populist discourse, misinformation, exclusion, everything. Because it's dangerous not for Syria, it's for the Syrian government as well. The sectarian, the Syrian regime, and some opposition group invested, institutionalized sectarian discourse as a survival tool, as a survival strategy. That's contributed to deepen the division and the rift, social and political rift in Syria. So the division, the impact of this division are still evident until today. So we are trying to counter it as much as we can. Of course, we had a mistake, and we did the mistake, and we will learn from our mistake. As I told you, we are at the beginning. But we have willingness and determination to establish professional, objective, and responsible media.
You've been now internationally in different countries and looking for cooperations with other media institutions. What support are you looking for? Because we can see and we can feel that you have challenges. So what do you need?
Yeah, I'm not here just because I need, because there is an opportunity in Syria as well. So we are inviting the media, foreign media outlet, the well-established media like DW, to come and invest in Syria. Of course, we are in need for different kind of, we are in technical need, operational need, we are in need for training, peace-building journalism training, how to improve or how to encourage the principle of democracy, of freedom. This is very important for us. And without international cooperation, we cannot do it alone. Or it will be hard to do it alone. That's why we are here just to represent Syria, to introduce our vision to the audience and to the Western audience. And to say, there is a new Syria. Try to discover it. So you are most welcome to visit Syria.
We will visit.
And you are most welcome. And of
no,
course,
we're looking forward to visit and to host talks with you in Syria, in Damascus.
It will be my pleasure.
Yes, looking forward.
This is one of my goals.
Your goal will come true.
Hopefully soon.
Unfortunately, we have to stop, but I allow myself to take one question. Am I allowed to take one? Yalla, you're not, but yalla. That's what I was told. I already took someone from DW. I just want to be taking someone else. Sorry, Muhammad.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this interview. Mohammed Al-Ajil from Syria, freelance, and I live in Germany. Just a question about how to organize the media rights. In Syria, we have more ethic. We have a lot of groups in our community. You speak about, or you talk about the free speech, freedom of speech, but we have challenge in this way. We have so many groups, we have so many sensitive topic in Syria. So there is freedom of speech, but we should to make some rights and or organizing rights of media.
And the question is?
The question, it will be organizing from media information about the right of freedom speaking.
Do you mean it's a code of ethics?
When we talk code of ethics, that code of ethics will
will
produce a law for information
That's what I mean.
guarantee the journalistic right for all Syrian journalists, regardless of their background. And
But there is red line for every
which
topic.
red line? Can I say?
I mean that we have sensitive topic in Syria. Sometimes maybe some groups they need to talk about sensitive topic in Syria. Sometimes it's hurt some groups in Syria. So we will organize that in Syria to protect
The
the feeling of the other groups and the all people in Syria.
We gave him the right to answer. Thank you.
So as I said, so even in the Western context and in Western democracy, so code of ethics is very crucial and important. It's an integral part of freedom of expression. That's why I'm focusing a lot on this process, and I'm interested in the process itself more than how to engage all journalists from inside and outside Syria in this process. I wanted them to create this code of ethics, to participate to reach kind of agreement about the principle of the principle of freedom of speech.
This is also an invitation to Syrian journalists,
of course,
to everyone to be involved. And then I'll summarize the question in a very short way. So, no boundaries in freedom of speech in Syria. No boundaries at all.
I think now the margin of
خلاص, if no, then no. If you say no boundaries.
No, we are saying. Maybe it's joking for you, Jaafar.
It's not joking at all. It's no. It's not
living in democratic context. Maybe it's joking for you.
It's not joking at all.
But as a Syrian people, we sacrificed a lot to reach time of freedom of expression.
It's one side of project of the society. That's what
We totally understand all what you.
Freedom of expression in Syria is not luxury. It's not kind of. It's a must, and we reach this freedom after 14 years.
Okay.
And 1 million have been killed. So my duty and my belief that if you want to keep our narrative alive, you have to expand the margin of freedom as much as we can to protect all journalists and journalistic rights. This is crucial for the future of Syria.
So no boundaries. No boundaries, okay. Thank you so much, and thank you to the audience.